Off the southern coast of Iceland, there is a small green island surrounded by cold Atlantic water. There are no streets, no shops, no neighbors, and on the island, there is one white house standing completely alone. From a distance, it looks almost impossible. A single building on a remote island with nothing around it but cliffs, grass, birds, and sea. Online, it became known as the most isolated house on Earth. But the truth behind it is stranger than the rumors. The island is called Ellidaey. It is part of the Vestmannaeyjar, or Westman Islands, an archipelago off Iceland's south coast. The island has no permanent population. It is steep, exposed, and difficult to reach. For most people, it is not a place to live. It is a place you visit only with planning, permission, and the right conditions. That did not stop the internet from inventing stories. Some claimed the house belonged to the Icelandic singer Björk. Others said it was built by a billionaire as a survival bunker. Some imagined it as the perfect hideout for the end of the world. But those stories are myths. The house is not a celebrity retreat. It is not a secret billionaire escape. It is not a luxury home waiting for the apocalypse. The building is generally reported to be a hunting lodge, built in the 1950s by the Ellidaey Hunting Association. Its purpose was practical. The island is home to seabirds, including puffins. Hunters and visitors needed somewhere to stay during trips to the island. So the lonely White House was built, not for mystery, not for hiding, but for shelter. And yet, that simple explanation does not make the image less powerful. Because even when you know what the house is, it still looks unreal. A single building, an empty island, no visible roads, no town nearby, no obvious sign of normal life. Just one small structure surrounded by ocean. That is why the photo spread so widely. It taps into something people find fascinating: the dream of total escape, the fear of total isolation. A place where no one can knock on your door, but also a place where no one can reach you easily if something goes wrong. In reality, life on Ellidaey would not be simple. The island is exposed to harsh Atlantic weather. Reaching it can be difficult. There is no ordinary village infrastructure, and the idea of peaceful isolation quickly changes when you imagine storms, darkness, and the sea cutting you off from the mainland. That is the difference between the fantasy and the reality. Online, the house looks peaceful, almost perfect. But in real life, isolation is not always romantic. It is practical problems: cold weather, limited supplies, no easy escape, and silence that might feel peaceful for one day, but very different after many more. Still, the house continues to fascinate people, not because of what happens there, but because of what it represents. A human-made shelter in a place that otherwise feels untouched. A tiny sign of civilization on a wild island. A building that looks like it should not be there, but somehow is. The most isolated house on Earth may not be the most isolated house by strict measurement. There may be buildings farther from other people, but few images capture isolation as clearly as this one. One island, one house, and an entire ocean around it. That is why Ellidaey became more than a place. It became an idea, a question people imagine themselves answering. Would you live there? Would you stay there for a night? Would it feel peaceful? Or would it feel like the world had disappeared? The real mystery of Ellidaey is not who secretly lives there. No one does permanently. The mystery is why one lonely house on one remote island captured the imagination of millions. Maybe because for a moment it shows us two opposite dreams at once: to be completely alone and to not be alone forever.